So you get your ticket at the will call, which is just a little box office, and then after you get that, all the cars pull up, and they just sort of get in your car. They check if you just have any stowaways. They don't want any people sneaking into this festival, because why? Well, because you got to get yourself a nice ticket. That ticket's upside down, but it's the real thing, and of course, that is not a joke.
This is my bike, and this is the story of Burning Man, and it is going to be about the gifts that Burning Man gives us. This is my camp, Waffles in the House, and we served waffles. It was amazing. We had a lot of fun providing waffles to a ton of people and a lot of great music, including some penis waffles to be served. But really, this is the story of the man and the Burning Man and all of the cool stuff inside of the Burning Man temple and the gifts that were given, received, and the gifting culture. So I'm going to narrate. It's not going to be entirely synced up with what you're seeing, which is basically a montage of my adventure in my first Burning Man. But it's going to be a heartfelt piece that I wrote, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. Without further ado, here we go. Give and ye shall receive. Every year, Burning Man attracts new crowds with dramatic spectacle. Yet longtime burners return year after year to commune with one another. A common burner culture and shared narrative attract burners in an annual migration towards this transient, sun-drenched cocoon in the dusty desert. This dusty, rutted mudflat, cradled by two mountains, has come to be known as Black Rock City. The burners come to and depart BRC as a mass of individuals, arriving separately and in small groups. But during their stay here, they gather together for a brief yet unmistakable transformation into a sort of quasi-nation or tribe. One of the critical social features of this great American powwow, which has now reached 80,000 in number of participants, is its culture of gifting and de-commodification. At the age of 42, and as a lifelong New Yorker, I've never been to a multi-day music festival, nor gathering. Nor have I ever embarked on a Foster Wallacean cruise ship outing. I am, paradoxically, somewhat repulsed by large crowds. And for this reason, I almost always bicycle to get around New York City, out of preference and instinct, generally avoiding the subways when possible. Burning Man, with all its crowds, was a gift that I was happy to receive. In the middle of the desert, far, far away from civilization, surrounded by all sorts of people, some of like mind and some quite different. So I might ask myself, how does this culture exist? Formally speaking, the Burning Man Organizing Committee structures this culture from the top down with a set of rules, as well as guidelines. But as we'll see later, my observations are that this culture really comes from the bottom up. The Burning Man Organizing Committee generally prohibits the sale of items, food, and services at Burning Man. They strongly encourage attendees to gift to one another all of the above. They also encourage this through the selection process of accepting camp applications. Camps comprise the groups of attendees whom are given sufficient space to set up a camp together, submitting their plans to provide art, food, services, music, performances, and all manner of other possibilities, all provided freely to all burners. These plans are screened by and must be approved by the committee. The Burning Man organization itself does sell tickets, parking spaces, camping spaces, and they sell ice and fuel, two very necessary provisions throughout the entire event. In recent years, bicycle rentals have, quite prudently I might add, become an additional commodification at Burning Man. Black Rock City takes 2 months to build, and perhaps 2 weeks to take apart. The vast majority of effort going into setting this up is unpaid volunteership. It is likely the fastest built city of this size in the world, built and deconstructed repeatedly year after year. Urban developers, refugee camp experts, and aspiring charter city builders should probably take note of Burning Man's persistence and its success. Black Rock City may be enabled by ticket and vendor financing, but it thrives and succeeds because of the people who construct it, and for those people, it's about their culture. Yet Burning Man, like the real world outside it, has its own social structure and inequality. And yet for all the complaints I have heard about Burning Man changing over the years, Its structure seems to have evolved perfectly, such that the organizers have risen to the challenge of providing logistics to an expanding size gathering. The official committee appears to operate on the principles of keep it simple, stupid, soliciting funds for appropriate deployment and allowing the burners to handle the rest. As far as I observed, the wealthier attendees at Burning Man appear as a wellspring of gifts, and do in fact subsidize those with less, those in need of food, water, and sometimes a place to stay. Of course, Burning Man is not open to all. There is a very well-defined border called the trash fence, and without proverbial border enforcement, Burning Man would be a very different sort of event, open to all comers. One irony lost on many attendees at Burning Man is that the wonderful spirit of open borders and help for all, a spirit often celebrated as an idea at Burning Man, is not actually fully practiced at Black Rock City. As with all human complexity, this juxtaposition of spirit and practice may carry a seed of positive lessons to be grappled with and learned from, rather than carrying a seed of agitation with a taint of conceit. It really depends on how one chooses to look at the matter. Burning Man is a tribe of gift givers, perhaps limited in practical scope, but not limited in underlying spirit. The idea and practice of giving gifts can be taken too far, of course. People can and do begin to attach ego to giving and receiving. Our commercialized culture of Hallmark cards and advertorial consumptive gifting encourages gifting to the point of excess obligation and excess entitlement, resulting in much suffering for many. When gifting causes displeasure or misery, then something has gone wrong. The connection has become disconnected, and the gifting, if not the very culture itself, must be reevaluated in that circumstance. One way or another, ego and entitlement can seep into even the best of cultural norms. Righteousness, as Alan Watts humorously pointed out, becomes a competition of whom can be more right, and can thus take everyone in the wrong direction. Finally, it's worth noting that Burning Man is in the heart of the desert, a place of tremendous natural beauty. This expansive landscape, the towering mountains, and the clear sunrises all feature prominently in the burner experience. The pleasures of the strong sun, however, are necessarily accompanied by the punishing difficulties of the desert environment. As the sun scorches the landscape each day, burners take refuge from heat, dryness, and occasional dust storms with one another. They face this backdrop of elemental punishment with great common effort, forging stronger relationships in the process, creating a tightly bound culture and narrative for themselves and others who might soon join in following years. I shall now propose a list of 10 gifts of Burning Man. Number 1, the gift of attention. Burning Man is filled with people that are extremely friendly and receptive to being approached, even interrupted by a stranger. This is the fundamental gift of our most precious resource, our attention. Furthermore, the quality of this attention is also shifted at Burning Man towards a culture of non-judgment, empathy, and basic stillness in listening and communicating with others. This adds depth and quality to the gift of attention. Along these lines, Burning Man organizers prohibit bringing dogs and pets into the event. This rule is probably in place largely because of the leave no trace policies of Burning Man. But the absence of pets seems to add positively to the quality of human attention in a dense, near-urban-like environment, where human-level attention is abundant and directed only between and amongst human beings. No offense meant to dog and pet lovers, of which I consider myself one. Even more so than pets, the general tendency of people at Burning Man to let go of their cell phones and not feel so tethered to them is a wonderful aspect of improved attentional quality at Burning Man gatherings. And this features prominently in the great communal social gift of attention. Number 2, gifting of compliments. The burner daytime is an experience of art, food, lectures, and group activities, as well as much needed sleep. Often enough, I would find that when I was at my camp serving food to long lines of waffle lovers, of course we served waffles for breakfast at Waffle's house, I would get random compliments from people waiting online as I served them. These were not insincere compliments, nor were they suggestive flirtation or attempts at getting more waffles. They were simply sincere attempts at cheer in the course of receiving the gift of food. Compliments are very common at Burning Man. Compliments of all sorts are continuously hurled around at Burning Man. I would also include the gift of a genuine smile as a compliment. These are replete throughout the experience. It sounds trite and silly, but a smile generated and communicated sincerely is a valuable gift. Number 3, the gifting of invitations and inclusiveness. One of my first mornings at Burning Man, I met a young mother getting formally married to the father of her child. We had a very nice conversation, at the end of which I was invited to their sunrise wedding, which I unfortunately missed. Personal weddings are not the only event invitations at Burning Man. Open invitations by camps to attend their events are a defining burner feature. In one instance, I'd attended a nearly 800-person open dinner, held Bedouin style with low tables and communal plates, hosted by a camp called Milk and Honey. Personal invitations from strangers to join outings or group outings in public are common at Burning Man. Number 4, gifting of display, art, music, and inspiration. One of the integral aspects of Burning Man is the art. The man and the temple are official Burning Man art that is paid for with ticket money and burned officially as part of the ceremony. However, the enormous amount of art that comprises the Burning Man landscape, inclusive of large exhibition pieces, art cars, and performance art, are all contributed freely and at great cost of transporting materials, people, and energy out to the desert to construct, display, and deconstruct them. The density of high-quality art pieces is up there with any exhibition you might see at a world-class museum like the Louvre or the Met, and it is in the middle of the desert, remote, and waiting for you. Also, one of the greatest aspects of Burning Man are the art cars, which in many cases are music platforms, off of which large DJs and speakers are used to host mobile dance parties. Some larger, some smaller. Robot Heart and Mayan Warrior traveling music art cars feature prominently in this regard. Without the gift of music, Burning Man wouldn't be recognizable as such. Number 5, gifting of food, services, and objects. Any introduction to Burning Man includes a discussion of radical self-reliance. This is propounded as a core value of the Burning Man Festival. Building a city of 80,000 people in the middle of a featureless, dry, alkali mudflat requires tremendous cooperation and dependency on cheap and plentiful fuel and resources from the outside world. Burners are also dependent on water truck delivery and septic pump out services for RVs and camps. And yet, once this medium-sized city is constructed and in operation, the culture internal to Burning Man encourages self-reliance, alongside continuous gifting of services, objects, and food by people and by camps from one another to help one another when in need or in want. Some Burning Man camps set themselves up to provide empathic listening, to provide karaoke, to fix bicycles, or an array of other services or entertainments, including naked showering, communal showering. Often enough, the camps operate as a sort of Bedouin hospitality suite, offering food, beverages, and or water misting and shade to help guests cool down. This type of hospitality in the desert with a beating sun has much in common with traditional Middle Eastern cultural norms of hospitality. In the desert, everyone faces a common struggle with sun and excess heat of midday. This gifting also extends to decorative objects as well and non-traditional consumable substances. Camps and burners often provide free gifting of decorative objects, such as bracelets, bike lighting to make bikes visible, and an array of trinkets and amulets, some personally crafted, but some purchased off Amazon, of course. Number 6, the gift of temporary places to rest and or free place to camp. If you stay up late enough at Burning Man, you will see a number of people sleeping in odd places, both public, on the open mudflat where large art is staged, the playa, and also in private. You will see people sleeping on couches and on art pieces. This is a common enough occurrence that appears to comprise one of the gifts of Burning Man as such, as one might see a random person safely sleeping out on the steps of a church in New York City at night. For a lot of the burners that do this, they either collapsed in exhaustion to sleep in this spot, or they may have even lost their location, or actually lost their bed for the evening due to someone else's unplanned tryst. Beyond this, Burning Man allows open camping in broad areas outside the core horseshoe. That is the area labeled from the streets beginning at the Esplanade all the way to rows H and J. Open camping doesn't require fees for camping, nor does it even require a vehicle pass if you can somehow find a way to survive coming into Burning Man without a vehicle. Number 7, the gift of sexuality and physical contact. Of course, one of the great features of Burning Man is that it is a sort of bacchanalia. During the day, conversational camaraderie and cultural exchange happens. At night, it lights up to become a massive music and dance party. Inclusive of this pattern is, of course, a fair amount of sexual activity. The culture of Burning Man continuously emphasizes consent-based etiquette, and yet Burning Man sees a lot of pair bonding, sexual and otherwise. In many cases, this will be temporary, but in others it may well lead to enduring relationships. The gift of physical contact at Burning Man is very often provided through hugs and hugging as people greet one another. Hugs can be very intimate and personal, and are frequently and freely given at Burning Man. Not so much in a sexual manner, but still intimate and with sincerity. In the vein of describing the gift of physicality, I would note that the sacred feminine, the more nurturing aspect of human connection, is a core feature of Burning Man. Number 8, the gift of opportunities to learn and to participate. My camp leader, who organized the Waffles and House camp, providing breakfast with excellent music, described setting up Burning Man camp as leading a Boy Scouts troop for adults without the patches. By this, he was referring to the massive amount of group training, cooperation, and teaching necessary to get things done. At Burning Man, people with specialized skills are often running around training novices, giving them the opportunity to learn a new skill as part of maintaining a camp and providing gifts and services to others. This feature of Burning Man is perhaps most underappreciated. Barn raising and contributing to teaching others basics is a logistically vital part of bootstrapping any large community project. On one particular final day, I witnessed roughly 80 or so people hand-lifting a gigantic geodesic dome frame to deconstruct it. Beyond volunteering to help your own camp, burners volunteer to light the lamps lining the playa, they volunteer to guard the temple, and they volunteer for fire safety, amongst many other duties, and volunteering for the official Burning Man organizing committee. Number 9, gift of communal support. People lose lots of objects at Burning Man. However, the loss of a phone can be a real bummer. On over 3 occasions, I witnessed and participated in ensuring that a lost phone returned to its rightful owner. I repeatedly witnessed crowds of people in a contagious and spontaneous manner all cooperate around the goal of getting a lost phone back to its owner. This type of cooperation underlies the undercurrent of tribalism at Burning Man, when people instinctually take action because there's a sense of group purpose, an implicit knowing that where one treads, others will follow. For all of this gift of communal help, losing a phone may be considered trivial compared to losing a loved one. The big things we lose in this world are not objects, but people and our relationships with them. I hadn't known of the Burning Man Temple before entering it, and I quickly observed its purpose of communal and individual grieving. The empathy and involvement of other people in this process is a vital aspect of the temple culture of Burning Man. This is why the final evening of Burning Man sees the most quiet, sound-free environment, where large crowds sit together, watch the temple burn while some cry, and others mostly sit respectfully and thoughtfully, largely in silence. Finally, number 10, the gift of laughter and forgetting. Burning Man is perhaps an evolving model of the quasi-refugee city of the future. In reality, however, one of the great things about Burning Man is that it is precisely not this. It is not a settlement. It is very much a temporary inhabitation. The unforgiving desert environment combined with the impermanence of the event complement one another to comprise a retreat-like environment filled with possibilities of escape, fantasy, and exploration. Burners explore and enjoy alternative realities as well as their alter egos. Burning Man could feasibly last 2 or more weeks beyond the original 1 week, or even a month longer. I'm certain many burners would wish it. The difficulty of regular life, however, and the joy of retreating from it to take rest and return to it is a cycle built on impermanence. If something like Burning Man became permanent or more protracted, problems, including the mundane tasks of doing laundry and dealing with unpleasant porta potties, but more so group challenges, including all the problems of settled group life, such as impatience and subversive behavior, would all come to the fore. The need for more institutional guidelines, administration, enforcement, bureaucracy, and the general behavioral stickiness would become the hard work of operating a permanent settlement, rather than the joy of Burning Man, which is the joy of retreat and the gift of impermanence.